is enough.
I want the world to be the best place for my children.
You are not alone.
We need renegades to be part of this movement, and they're the ones that are going to change the world.
Welcome back to Renegade Radio, the podcast dedicated to the dissenters of the status quo, bringing you the mindset and strategies to build a healthier, happier, and stronger family, the Renegade way.
It's so important to be a renegade.
Welcome back to another episode of Mindset Monday on Renegade Radio. Hope you're doing great, gang. This is Dr. Todd Gignac, your host, and the topic for today's podcast is, are you stuck in your fixed ideas? So let's enjoy this and let's hop right in. We're going to keep it short, sharp, and savvy. Well, maybe I shouldn't say savvy because I can't necessarily say I fall into that category, but are you stuck in your fixed ideas? So what does that mean? We can apply this to every area of your life. And so let's go through a few examples of what that means and how, if you are stuck on fixed ideas, number one, how is this hurting you? And number two, how do you even identify it? Oftentimes we have these long-held, deeply ingrained beliefs, i.e. fixed ideas about how we perceive the world, how we operate within it, whether it be in our health, our relationships, our business, finances, etc., all the areas of our life, or even our spirituality. We have these fixed ideas, and they may have served their purpose at some point, either in your life, or maybe even your parents' time, or even your grandparents' time. And while those beliefs and ways of doing things worked then, they might not be serving you now. But because of the way we're brought up and our conditioning, we tend to hang on to these, hence they're fixed ideas. And we're not willing to budge. We're not willing to concede that, well, maybe there's a different way or a better way of thinking about things, looking at things, doing things, etc. So let's dive into a few examples of this. And we want to help extrapolate from your life, where might you be stuck on some fixed ideas that are holding you back from the life that you want and truly deserve, whether it be for yourself, your partner or spouse, for your kids and family, your business. So let's take the example of, let's just use health. We talk a lot about that on the Renegade, within the Renegade family. And the reason we do is because it's your greatest asset. Your health, as it were, kind of floats all the other boats of your life. Your health floats your business. Your health floats your marriage and romance. Your health floats everything. Your spirituality, the way you think, your energy, your quality of life. So we do spend probably the majority of the time talking about health and how you can achieve the greatest degrees and kick butt at everything. Or as our good friend Dave Asprey at the Bulletproof says, it's kick ass at everything you do. Kicking ass at 85 and beyond. So fixed ideas. Tangent. Let's look at it in the area of health. What fixed ideas do we have? Well, let's just look at some obvious things. It wasn't long ago that, the experts, so-called experts, said that smoking was good for you. I mean, up until as late as the 1980s, doctors were espousing smoking, that it was good for digestion and stress relief and so on. And we bought that for a while until there was irrefutable evidence that smoking is actually really bad for you. And what about, butter is bad for you. We better switch to margarine, which, as we now know, is closer to plastic than food, very toxic. And let's just look at the grand scheme of things. What's been pounded into our head for about the last 35, 40 years is the basis of how we should eat. And that was put out by government agencies in the U.S. and pretty much the Western world with this food pyramid. And the food pyramid, at the base of it, in other words, what was the greatest quantity of your calories, should come from grain. And we now know that that's probably the worst thing you should be filling your body with. But we've been doing it for so long. We grew up with it. Our parents grew up with it. And it's just accepted as normal. So it's very hard for us to think otherwise. And at the top of that old food pyramid was fats. You want to limit your fat intake, especially saturated fats, because, boy, they're going to clog your arteries right up. And in the last number of years, last decade or so, and particularly in the last few years, that food pyramid has literally been flipped upside down. The majority of your calories should be coming actually from fats. Now, there are different kinds of fats, so you got to understand this and do a little homework, but healthy fat should be the bulk of your calories, 50, 60, 70, even up to 80, 90%, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. And the smallest part of your calories should be carbohydrates, because carbohydrates metabolize to sugar. Sugar drives insulin release, which then affects your entire metabolic processes, yeah? So this isn't a nutrition talk, but just about our fixed ideas. So when you present this to people now, even in people in healthcare, mainstream healthcare, if you bring this to them, they don't want to hear it. You know, even dietitians, traditionally trained dietitians and so on, they're still telling people to eat bread and, make sure you get adequate amount of milk for your calcium. All that's been blown out of the water. And if you hang on to it because it's different and it's new, you're only doing yourself and your family a disservice. And it's kind of strange, human nature, you know. Us humans are a bit funny in the sense that we almost have this sick thing that makes us resent the impact of new ideas, right? Look at Socrates, right? His demise was hemlock, right? He was poisoned because of new ideas. Jesus was crucified. Bruno burned at the stake. Galileo had to basically go into hiding because of his ideas, you know, and the thought that, oh, well, the earth is not the center of the universe, right? That was heresy. And, you'd be burned at the stake for thinking these things, and, simply put, it's flat earth thinking. So the people who said, hey, you know what, the earth actually isn't flat, you're not going to fall off, well, they were chastised and ridiculed and vehemently rejected and stripped of their credentials. And we see that today in modern times. We see doctors stepping forward, pointing out the flaws and the way we're currently doing things. And what happens to them? This system eats them up because, well, usually there's some financial issues. There's profit centers and corporations that don't want the truth to be known. And that's a whole other episode. But the idea is, and then us, the consumer, we're like, yeah, that can't be. That's ridiculous. I was told that eggs are bad for you, so I can't eat eggs. And I was told that butter is bad for you and, meat and so on. So let's apply this same concept of fixed ideas to, say, relationships. Let's say you're in a marriage. Well, if we went back to the 1950s, what did a marriage look like compared to today? Well, in the 1950s, it was commonplace and kind of accepted, and it was just, culture at the time that the woman's place was, wearing an apron kind of thing in the kitchen and rearing the kids. And the man's place was at work and providing the income, and he kind of ruled the roost, so to speak. And that doesn't really fly today. And that's fine, by the way, if that's how your house is set up. I'm not here to tell you one way or the other or judge one lifestyle or the other. But the point is that was the way things are done. And if you try to, push that in today's society, you'd sure get a lot of backlash. So we see... today that women are equal to men, and there's women that are doing they're kick-ass entrepreneurs, and they're leaders, and they're in everything, as in my opinion, as it should be. And for the women listening that want to be home and in the kitchen with an apron, that's cool too. In our house, our primary focus is our taking care of our kids. So Carolina, my wife, that's the primary focus. But, she's not chained to the kitchen with an apron either, right? Barefoot and pregnant, so to speak. So things change, and we got to change our ideas, and our way, our worldview has to change with it. I think you can agree with that. But sometimes, again, it's really can be hard to let go of these things. So my challenge for you today is to, where in your life do you have fixed ideas that you're just holding on to? You won't budge, even though there's evidence all around you that you need to look at things differently. But you're just stuck in this rut. Identify those. Your health, your business and finance, your relationships, your marriage, your spirituality, the core 4 areas of your life. Where are you stuck and fixed? Let's look at business. Maybe you're running a business, or you work in a business that the way you were operating, say 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, the way things are changing now, might have even been 3 years ago. What you were doing, your operations, your systems, your personnel, your marketing strategy, all that a few years ago might have been kicking butt for you guys in your business. Things were zipping along, business was good, revenue was good, etc., etc. And here we are a few years later, and the very same tactics that worked great a few years ago are no longer serving you, and your business is now struggling. And maybe your ideas are fixed. Well, we got to keep doing what worked. It worked before, it worked decades ago, it worked 5 years ago, So let's just, head down. Maybe it's the economy. Maybe that's what it is, the economy. Things are down. Maybe it's, the moon cycles or whatever. We got staff issues. We don't have the staff, our good key employees left. So you can come up with all these reasons, but the reality is maybe you're stuck with old ideas and operating systems and marketing strategies that no longer serve you. You need to be open to looking at new ideas and new ways of doing things, learning new things. And that's the other thing, guys. For you to bust out of your fixed ideas, it might require your time, energy, and resources to learn new things, right? Learn about the new evidence for how we should eat, and how we should move, and how we should think for our health, right? The evidence of how we should be, it's a digital world now, so our business needs to be online and social media and all those things. And if you've been around for a number of years or decades, all that stuff's very foreign to you. That's cool. Hire somebody who understands it and leverage them out, right? So where in your life are you stuck in fixed ideas? We would love to hear from you. We'd love your questions. We'd love your feedback. Just send us an email at faq@therenegadefamily.com. And every Friday we answer these questions in a podcast, and it's awesome and it's fun. So I love sharing with you today. Let's blow up some fixed ideas. Let's go renegade on them mofos. And I want you guys to have a very blessed day. Go hard. Go Rhino. This is Dr. Todd signing out.
I love you, Daddy.
We're counting on you.
My mom is a renegade.
Thanks for tuning in to Renegade Radio. If you haven't yet done so, please subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us a rating and review. Also, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/TRFTribe. Please email us your questions for FAQ Friday and we'll do our best to answer them in a future show. Simply email us at faq@therenegadefamily.com. If you got value from this episode and know someone else that would benefit from it as well, please share it with them.
Changing the world is going to start in your house. This is Dr. Todd, and from my family to yours, we wish you all the best. God bless, and we'll catch you soon.
Renegade.